Good afternoon. Welcome to the Theo Trade Afternoon video. I'm Blake Young, and today is July 17th, 2025. We're going to talk about AI stocks as a continuation of what we talked about Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week. Now, we've talked about channels and the rotation of channels. We've talked about the economics and the fundamentals around those AI stocks. We've also talked about the strategies in options that we could use. But we're going to do a follow-up and a continuation of that in today's video that will point us to future opportunities in the market. Now, if we look at this chart and we look at the moves that we've seen already in XLK, it's been running in a channel really since April, and we've hit these highs, hit these highs, hit these highs. So right now, I don't want to chase XLK into the next high. It's a little bit too close to the top. It doesn't mean it's not going to keep going because we really didn't pull back very far. We just kept hitting the high, hitting the high, hitting the high. I don't want to buy at the peaks. I'd rather buy at a discounted rate. So XLK is not necessarily the time I want to get in, but individual stocks that I'm looking for are going to be stocks I'd be digging into inside of XLK or the stocks that provide services to them. If we go to the Analyze tab on Thinkorswim, you'll see the top 10 holdings, 9 of those are arguably directly correlated with AI and the potential growth of that area. If we went to 11, we could count 10 out of 11. I wouldn't put CRM in there. They use AI, but they're not creating an AI system necessarily. But NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom, Oracle, Palantir, Cisco, AMD, Intuit, and IBM all are directly and tightly correlated to AI. So the majority of this, which is about 40 to 50% of the XLK, is AI related in some fashion. So as we're looking into the AI stocks, I want to find things that are also channeling but closer to their support level, their floors. So we're going to talk about a few of these, and one of the ones we've talked about for the last 2 days is Snow. Snowflake, or Snow is the ticker symbol, is a stock that's tied directly to some of the things that Anthropic is doing and some AI pushes as well. It's a stock that has the potential to continue to move higher. We've already had an amazing trend. We broke that trend, and now we're retesting the new duplicate of that trend or that channel support, which does give me an opportunity to potentially see Snowflake reach new highs up to 246. So if we can bounce and go up to 246, this could be a sizable move where we'd be looking at about 15 to 20% return on Snowflake. Now I've got lots of channels on Box. Box also tied directly to AI, and I drew a down channel, the best fit I could find. I took the inverse of that, and what we've seen is an intersection of previous support and resistance with the down and the up right there, and that could have been the setup. Now, I think we're not far enough away from the lows that we can still take a potential bullish trade in Box. If Box is going to establish the support level and maintain this, it could ride this level, and we'd be looking for a move up to about 34. If it breaks through this channel, we're looking for about $1.50. That doesn't sound like much, but it is 5%. So we'd expect 5% here, 10%, and push us back up into this area about 35, likely in the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's a lower cost stock. The options aren't as great, but it is a lower cost stock and an opportunity to trade into AI. I did mention Palantir, but Palantir itself is kind of like the XLK. It's probably a little bit too extended for me to want to chase up here. It's pushing up to these high levels, and so I'm not going to chase this one. I'm going to look for other stocks outside of this to pull back and find a support. But Palantir could go sideways like it did here. It could sell off aggressively. We're looking for buying opportunities near 145, 147 if this trend is going to continue. But Palantir is not one I want to chase. One of the ones we don't talk a lot about is the fact that Amazon, not only does it have some space in the AI area, but their Amazon Web Services are providing quite a bit of support for the AI space. So as we're looking at this, we're looking for the moves here. It's not at the highs, but it's also not at the lows. It's not perfect, but it is one that I would still consider getting into mid-channel. Amazon Web Services is about 48% of all the things that Amazon does. It has not gone back to its full channel lows really since May, and it's gone about halfway through, bounce back, halfway through, bounce back. So I'm looking for a bounce somewhere in here, and today may be it. I would like to see another test closer to 220, but this may be the base, and if we just track the highs like we did before, we're looking at 235 potentially before the end of the month, maybe even higher. And so we're looking for about a 5% move up in Amazon. Microsoft, highly involved in AI as well, you can see is rallying, trading above 1 standard deviation Bollinger Bands, and had this solid 52-week breakout today. I like this for a target up to 530, and you might think, well, that channel doesn't have anything to do with anything. That could be a perception, but if you look back here historically, channels have a tendency to repeat and retest. And so the channel that goes all the way back to December, January, February, right through here, was the exact same channel that we were trading back up here in September, October, November, December. And so this rising channel, even though it goes back to last year, last fall, has confirmed itself here, has confirmed itself as that height and that slope is important. And you can see that even when it was breaking free, it just sat there at the exact same slope. So the fact that we broke through the 52-week high today has me looking for Microsoft to get up to about 530, 540, and then potentially riding that top side and breaking out when it would be looking for another 5% or 25 points higher. So if we can break through 530, I'm anticipating we go to 555 on Microsoft and pushing to that next super high. And I mentioned IBM. And IBM, I have two different channel sets, which I'm not sure which one we're going to play off of because we were toying with the one today. And so I've got a short term that was off of these highs, lows, breakout and reversal. So the fact that we had reversal candles 4 times in a row at the top, I'm willing to cut through that. And so I'm looking at this and saying either it's going to bounce here at 281 and go for 310 potentially over the next 3 to 4 weeks, and we do have earnings, or we're going to sell off and find support closer to 267. So you can see where these longer term channels are. I'm going to zoom out to a year, and you can see this is the super channel that we've traded at throughout the year. And there are times we broke free, but I'm looking for the most touches, the most consistent moves, highs, lows, and it's a little bit cleaner on the weekly chart. If you go back further in time, you can see the weekly closes are there, and we still have some breakouts, but we have more touches at these levels. So this is a multi-year channel in a big picture. So as long as it holds up at 260, 265, 270, I'll be looking for a buy opportunity there. But I do think we might get an earlier signal here that this may be a fake out breakout since it sold off on lighter volume. I would need it to get through 286, but again, that would put me on track to not only break through the top channel and duplicate the big channel, but short term, which would be 25 points, about 8%. But short term, I'm looking for a test about 304. So the question is, does it bounce here? Or are we going to see it dive deeper back down to the 265, 270 level on that chart? And circling back one more time to XLK, that's also going to justify holding into these positions in XLK as prices are pushing up to these new highs. Now we could have gone through and looked at a few more of these, but you're going to find they're pretty consistent. I don't like Apple. I don't think it has enough AI pressure in there, but we could look at Cisco and Oracle. Overall, though, we're just looking for the ones that are cheaper for the long-term uptrend lift. And if we get those, these are all going to continue to ride that XLK up to the top. The nice thing about all the situations we're in now, which we covered today in the main room, is that all the options on all these stocks that are bouncing up and going higher in the tech sector and in AI tend to have a lower cost option at this moment. There's very low volatility, which means the options to buy calls are inexpensive relative to the potential move and gains. Well, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for watching, and join us again in the main room tomorrow and in the futures room. And otherwise, I will catch you again next week.